Hello and welcome to this exciting and innovative team-only indoor World Archery Series finals. I'm Karen Bashir and I'm here to talk you through this event. We've got this entire event coming to you remotely with the teams in this compound competition shooting in the USA, France and Estonia, and they are competing for a slice of the guaranteed prize pot of 5,000 Swiss francs. Joining me as ever, it's World Archery's Mr. Innovation, Chris Wells. Chris, we've got a lot to discuss, so let's start with how we got here today.
Yeah, hi Karen. Well, we've been shooting the Indoor Archery World Series as a combined live and virtual tour since November of 2020. The teams have all been ranked on their best result over the 4 stages, plus that one bonus we had in Nimes, and the top 4 teams in the rankings were invited to take part this weekend.
Yeah, so we talked about the remote nature of it. You're in Switzerland, in Lausanne. I'm here in Great Britain, and we've got teams competing in 3 different countries. So tell us about the technological setup.
Well, it's very similar to a tournament you and I did last year, Karen, at the Lockdown Knockout. We're using a combination of professional cameras and mobile devices, laptops, tablets, to receive streams from ranges all around the globe and just give these fantastic archers and fantastic squads an opportunity to compete. Hopefully there won't be too many technical glitches today.
Fingers crossed, as always. But you don't like to stop there. You spice things up even further by adding a slightly different element. What are we going to see today?
Yeah, well, the team format for the Indoor World Series is a little different anyway. Rather than the 3 archers of a single gender we have for outdoors and our main events, it's actually a combined men's and women's squad, 1 of each at least, and we've never done any head-to-head events with it, so we decided to just go completely out there and try something completely new. Today we're going to introduce the concept of games. It's still a head-to-head knockout, but each game will last for about an hour, and each game consists of 4 separate matches.
Yeah, that's right. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at the rules and the game format. Our teams are 3 archers who will be split into pairing up groups, as we can see here, shoot 3 individual matches, and the winning archer of each of those individual matches will secure a bonus point for their team. And those bonus points are added to the start of the team match, and it's all about the team match. And its outcome will produce the winner who will make it through to the final. 2 semi-finals to come, of course, today.
Now, all of our matches today are taking place over the standard distance of 18 metres. There'll be 4 ends of 3 arrows long, 12 arrows in total, and it's total score in each match that matters. And usually the ties are allowed for the individual matches. It's 1 bonus point per individual for the team if that happens.
Yeah, and it's all about this target today as well, the triple spot in a triangular formation. The centre is a 2 centimetre 10 ring, as you can see here. The diameter is just 2 centimetres, and just to make it even more exciting, yes, it's back. The 12 ring, just 15 millimetres wide, scoring 12 points, and the archers must declare their intention to shoot it prior to drawing their bows, and it can only be used once per end. So very different format that we're using today. Now let's meet those all-important teams. First up from France, it's Arc System. Hello, France. How are you? Oh, there we are. Great. Stay where you are. Just wait there a second, and we'll bring in your opponents all the way a little further north in Europe from Estonia. Hello, Estonia. Are you ready? There they are. Sporting round of applause from our team in France. Right, well, let's bring you all together. Chris, over to you as our ringmaster for this tournament.
All right, guys, we've been through the rules with you already. Can I just get a big thumbs up that you understand what's going to happen today? Yes, from Estonia. France, you understand the rules? Yeah, we're all good. Now, your team captains previously submitted the shooting order, and we'll go in that order that you guys submitted. And we'll have the archer from the higher seeded team always starting first. And that's Arc System in this game. You guys seeded second. So I know it's Lizelle versus Lola up first. So you guys can go and get ready for the first match. You can get to your bows and get to the line. The rest of you to your hanging out spots. And then Karen, I think we'll go through the rest of the matchup.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much, Chris. And yeah, let's take a look at the full roundup for these matches. Here's the lineup. As Chris said, Lola Grandjean will take on Lizelle Yatmar in the first individual match, followed by Adrienne Gontier against Marita Pass, Mary Marita Pass. And the third and final individual will see Nicolas Gerard up against Robin Yatmar. That is Arc System versus Estonia, and three individual matches will be followed by the team match. So let's see. It looks like the archers may well be ready. Chris, do you think we're good to go here?
I think so. We're going to start with Lola. So whenever we come out of our bumper and we're on to her, she can kick us off.
Well, let's get underway. So as you can see, Lola Grandjean ready to shoot and get match number 1 underway. Lovely shot there, just missing at the very centre of the target. So we will move over to Estonia, alternating between the pairs as they shoot. And here is Lizelle. Just touching the line there. So 2 good sighters for our first 2 athletes. Back to France. Oh, now that's an interesting turn of events. Low in the target in the 6th ring, and it looks like someone is already fixing that one. Not a great second shot from Lola as we head back to Estonia. Solid second shot from Lizelle, and taking what looks like a fairly commanding lead in this first end. Back in the middle of the target, that's spot on for Lola. Does mean that 6 is all that's required to draw level. Anything more, and Lizelle Yatmar will take a commanding lead here. Lovely shooting. The grouping's quite good from Lizelle Yatmar, and as we can see, a solid start from her. A 29 with a 4-point lead after the first end. Chris, nervy moments there in France for sure.
I think Lola Grandjean went for the 12 ring early in this one. She has to remember, she has to announce that, put her hand up so we know she's going for it. But Chris for a lead early in this one.
Yeah, big lead there for Estonia, and we're picking up sound from all sorts of places here. There's a round of applause. Well, it looked like it was coming from Estonia, Tallinn, I believe. You get a good idea of the 18-meter range that the archers are all shooting over here in this competition. So, Chris, you think that Lola was going for that 12, so it wasn't necessarily the bad shot that I called it.
I don't think it was a terrible shot. I think she went for that 12. She needs to do that hands up and confirm that that's where she's going for if she's going to shoot the 12 again. We're just waiting, obviously, for these ranges to be cleared, the scores to be confirmed, which they have been, so we can go into the second end.
Yeah, we are waiting for that score confirmation. The athletes waiting for us to give them the cue to go ahead for the second end. Well, as you can see, Lola there with her teammates who are waiting in the wings to shoot in the second and third individuals. That's Adrien Gontier and Nicolas Girard in the background. And Lola is still waiting for us to give the signal to go ahead. Chris, do you think we're ready to get cracking with the second end?
We'll just wait to see from the back cameras to make sure the ranges are clear, and then we'll get on with it. Lola's ready.
All looks clear there in Dijon, France. Shall we get end number 2 underway?
Okay.
Lola's ready to go. It's time for end number 2. So straight into the centre of the target. A brilliant start for Lola. So we switch over to Estonia. Lizelle has been waiting patiently over there. And here we go. Lizelle patiently waiting for her turn. Still maintaining that good grouping from the first set, but just pulling to the left, to the right again. Back to Lola.
Nice.
Getting some good support now from her teammates, and that's 2 great shots.
She's got plenty of time to come back into this one as well. It's not over, despite that early low arrow.
Well, still right, but clipping the 10 ring. Lola on for a perfect, and she's raising her hand. She's going for the 12. And she's just missed out. That is an 8 there for her. So trying to claw back the deficit from the first end hasn't quite worked out, but a 28 for Grandjean as we wait to go back to Estonia to pick up the last arrow from Lizelle Yatma. Again, waiting patiently for us to get to her. And again, pulled to the right. So there's a running theme here for Lizelle Yatma. And it looks like a 28 for her, which is level on scores with Grandjean, who went for the 12 in her final arrow. But that 4-point lead is still with the Estonian team and Lizelle Yatma. Remember, going for bonus points before we go into the team competition. Now we get the wide shot looking down the range. We're ready to go in Dijon, but not quite ready to go in Tallinn just yet. So we'll hold off waiting for the start of end number 3. Chris, everything from Lizelle Yatma is going to the right at the moment. Is there something she can do about that?
A little edgy on the right. She'll need to just nudge it over again. Obviously, it's the team match that matters, and in that match, they're only shooting 1 arrow an end each archer. We're sticking with the 3 arrows per end situation. So this is the opportunity, really, to get that left-right sorted so she doesn't drop any points accidentally when we come to the match that matters.
Yeah, well, it looks like we're all clear in both France and in Estonia, so it's time to get on with end number 3. So Grandjean will be looking to claw back the points. Is she going to be maintaining an approach of going for the 12, though? Well, just going into the 9 by the looks of things there. You see that cluster on the bottom left target. Very, very impressive. Still going right. Hasn't listened to Mr. Wells. But it is enough for Yatma. Grandjean ready for her second. Still going right.
It's still a 4-point lead for the archer from Estonia. She's got a big enough advantage in this one.
And the 12 being called again from Lola Grandjean. Oh, and looks like she's clipped it this time. Third time of asking. Grandjean has hit the 12. So I think she was on 18 before that, so has actually, with that 12, got the usual maximum of 30. So will Yatma go for it? No, she won't. Straight into the middle of the target. So a 28 for Yatma. So a net gain of 2 points from Grandjean to close the gap to just 2 points. Chris, our first 12 being scored in this first semi-final.
Yeah, Lola Grandjean, they've come out firing here, the French team. Arc system, 3 attempts at the 12 in this first match from Lola Grandjean, and 1 out of 3 hits. It's really changed the narrative. Obviously, she's missed 2, but still only trailed by 4 at the halfway point. Now cut that deficit to 2. It's a really aggressive approach, and it's nice to see how these teams are taking a different angle towards that special white dot on the target.
Yeah, it was interesting when we first started using the 12-pointer, and well, I was hoping for some excitement, and we certainly got that as we head into the final end. It's time for end number 4.
We need to wait a little bit, Karen. We've still got some archers some scoring happening at the target in Estonia, so we'll just wait a little minute until they're ready.
Let's see if Lola's got that message. Lola, could you just hold off for a second? Looks like she's going ahead, Chris, but it does look like it's now clear in Estonia. Is that clipping the line for a 10 for Lola Grandjean? We'll wait for the scorer to confirm that. And it has been marked as a 9. I wonder if they contest that or if they'll need to contest it. We go back to Estonia. And there's our Yatma ready to shoot her first arrow. Remember, coming into this final end was leading by 2 points. Straight into the middle now. Has made the adjustment. Was pulling right through the first two ends, but now back in the centre of the target. And as you can see, our scorers here have marked that first arrow for Lola Grandjean as a 10. A second attempt at the draw there as well. Be interesting to see what Chris has to say about that. Well, that has definitely clipped the line, so it's another 10 for Lizelle Yatma. And another shot at the 12 for Lola Grandjean. She's missed it, dropped into the 6 ring. So I think that puts this one almost definitely out of reach. Yatma just has to hit the target and gets the bonus points for Team Estonia. And into the 9 ring, and well, I make that 107 for Lola Grandjean. Perhaps being marked up to 108. We'll wait for the confirmation of the scores on that first arrow, but that is up against 115 for Lizelle Yatma. An interesting game, Chris, an interesting matchup between these two, but Yatma pulled away at the beginning and clung on despite Lola Grandjean attempting the 12 in every single end, I think.
Well, we had two very different strategies in play there, didn't we, Karen? We had Lola Grandjean from Arc System going for the 12 ring each of her 4 ends. Lizelle Yatma over there in Estonia just shot her game, didn't go for the 12 once and didn't need to. After all, score 114 over to the archers in Estonia and 108 in France.
Yep, so a bonus point for the start of the team match won by Lizelle Yatma over in Tallinn, all looking very relaxed on the right-hand side of the screen. Chris, we will move pretty swiftly into the second lineup. What are we expecting here?
Next up, we've got Adrian Gontier, the team captain from Arc System, up against Miri Marita Path, the second female member of the Estonian team and the only non-Yatma member of the Estonian team as well. Hopefully we'll see the match result and just see where we are at the moment.
Yeah, well, as you can see, the range in Tallinn is still not clear. New targets being put up over there. A bit more efficiency in France, obviously finishing first in the first match. They were ready to get going straight away. But it does look like we are all set to go. It's time for match number 2. So here we go. Adrien Gontier shooting in Dijon for Arc System. Straight down the middle of the target for a 10 and a good start. Pass waiting in Estonia. And matching her opponent. Just a few clicks south in France, and we are back in France and ready for Adrien to shoot his second arrow of this second match.
Two tens from Adrien Gontier. We'll see if he takes the same approach as his teammate Lola Grandjean and goes for that 12 ring with his third arrow.
Well, Adrien waiting for his third arrow, and he's going for the 12. I think we've picked the tactic from the team in France. Long hole just south of where he needs to be, and it looks like, oh, that might be on the 6-7 line. And has that clipped the line as well? I think it might well have done, and it's a 29-4 pass. And Gontier going for that 12 on the third arrow. Chris, do you think perhaps the French team are warming up their aim for the 12 in the team match?
Well, that's the result that matters, obviously, the team match. If they can grab a bonus point before we get there, it's all the better. That's what these warm-up individual matches are for, to grab those bonus points. Going for the 12, if they think they can do it more reliably when they get to that decider, is only going to serve them well. But interesting that both of them have taken the same approach. Both of their archers have taken the same approach in these first two matches. Go for the 12, don't go for the 12. It's paying off for Estonia not to gamble too much at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it looks like they are going to stick with this tactic. It'll be interesting to see if they continue right the way through all three individual matches, or whether the French team are going to adapt depending on the circumstances. But as you can see, Estonia leading this match at the moment, 29-27. I think the ranges are looking clear, so let's go to end number 2. Adrien Gontier ready to shoot his first arrow of the second end, trailing by 2 points. I think that's going to get marked as a 10. Amazing grouping from Pass in that bottom left target as well.
She's been impressive over this first 4 arrows. Only dropped 1 single point.
Yes, indeed. Tickling the spider. So Gontier on a perfect in end number 2.
Yes.
And that's been marked as a 9. Guess what? It's another shot at the 12 for Adrien Gontier. Oh, one low, and this one's gone slightly higher. It does mean that it's an 8 for Gontier this time, so a 28 for a finish here in the second end. And no signal from Pass. She's just going for the regular 10. And shooting a 9 there. Now, we've got 29 for the pair of them, Chris, in this second end. Is that going to be adjusted at all, do you think?
I think they'll take a second look at the Estonian second arrow or first arrow. A little bit on the line, wasn't it? Wasn't quite sure if that broke. I'm sure our scorers will take a good look at that one. Another interesting approach from Adrian Gontier and the Arc System crew, going for that 12 ring for the 6th consecutive time, but hitting high this time and grabbing the 9 points. So no different to just missing that middle 10 ring low, really. I love the approach. I love the approach.
Yeah, I do too. It's very interesting, and it seems to be the one that the Arc System are going to stick with through the tournament. And Adrian Gontier is ready to go. We are not quite ready though, so hopefully he is just holding back as we wait for the range to be clear in Tallinn. And not bad shooting from either of these teams, but Estonia just edging it with the tactics at the moment.
Estonia being very chilled out, just shooting that normal game. It's how you know how to shoot, right? There's still that 10 ring. There's still that standard 10 ring on this target. But I love the aggression from Arc Systems. Will it pay off in this third end?
Well, let's find out. It's time for end number 3. Wow. Tactics changed slightly here. Going for the 12 with the very first arrow. One low, one high. This one just slightly to the left, but probably the closest of the lot. And I think that is in the 8 ring. It might be clipping the 9 line, but we go to pass. Will she stick with the regular center of the target?
No, second 12 from Gontier now. He's shot it. He's had his chance, just trying to limit the damage in this third end.
I'll pass on for a perfect here. Conte will want the 10 to keep him in this match. It looks like that's what he's got. So on for a perfect here. Marie to pass. And gets the perfect 30 and increases her lead by 3 points going into the final end. Solid shooting there, Chris, in Estonia.
Yeah, dropped those 1 points in the first end and the second end. Nothing in the third. 88 points after 9 arrows. Gontier trailing by 5, but 3 attempts at the 12 ring and 2 of them ending in 7s. Maybe it's a situational thing, but they've decided to play in that way, and we'll see how it works out for them.
Yeah, not working out that great at the moment for Gontier, trailing by 5 at the moment as we're waiting for our ranges to be clear both in Dijon and in Tallinn. And I just don't see the French team changing their tactics at the moment. I think Gontier is going to be determined to at least hit the 12 ring once in this match. Looks like the ranges are clear. Let's go to end number 4. Well, another 10 for Mary-Marie to pass. Gontier ready to shoot in Dijon.
Not just a 10, but a perfect middle. Punch the 10 ring out of that bottom right target. Here's Adrien Gontier. We know what he's going for with his third arrow, but this match is over in terms of score.
Well, perhaps that's dropped just a little outside the 10 ring into the 9. I'm not sure it's clipped the line. And what do we got here? Yeah, it's 12 for Adrien Gontier, going for the 12 again. Just left again, dropping out into the 7 ring as well by the looks of things for the third time. So it's all down to Mary-Marie to pass to finish this one off and get another bonus point for the Estonians. And into the centre of the target. Well, you've got to say, Lizel Yatmar shot very well in the first, but Mary-Marie to pass has gone one better for the Estonians in the second match, looking on grand form, and has got the bonus point for the team. Chris, brave from the French team. Do you think they'll change their tactics going into the third and final individual?
I doubt it. You know, they seem to have got their approach in the internal competition between them. We've had 8 attempts at the 12 ring, and only one archer has hit it. That's Lola Grandjean, of course, first archer up. So she's winning there in the Arc System camp. These individual matches are all about the bonus points in the lead up to the team final, which is the one that matters. Currently, Estonia leading that race, and then yeah, there's a chance to eat into it in this third one.
Yeah, they certainly are leading the race. 2 bonus points from the first 2 matches as we wait for the ranges in both Estonia and France to be cleared. But we are just about ready as we look down the Estonian range, just replacing the target for the third and final individual match between Nicolas Girard in France and he'll be up against Robin Yatmar in Estonia. And there is Yatmar preparing for the match. And you can see on the left-hand side of your screen Nicolas Girard keen and ready to go. They have been chomping at the bit right the way through this match, the French. But they're trailing in terms of the bonus points by 2 to the Estonian team. Now, looks like we've got a clear range both in Tallinn and in Dijon. So let's get on with match number 3. So Nicolas Girard, well, stating his intention right from the start, going for the 12 with the very first arrow of this third individual match. Oh, hey, he's hit it, and you can hear the cheer in Dijon from his teammates. Straight into the 12. What a commanding start, Robin Yatmar. Wry smile on his face. I think he knows what's happened in Dijon. Straight into the 10 ring, or just clipping the 9-10 line, so he'll get the 10 points. Back to Nicolas Girard.
Very impressive open from this young man near Nîmes. He had his breakout in 2020 when he came second in that event. So his teammates in the French squad. Not a good shot.
Oh, another 10 for Yatma, so on for the regular perfect. But here we see Girard going for the special perfect. 32 points potentially could be his target. Or should I say his total? Now that is very close indeed. Chris, is that a 9 or a 10?
Those 9.3 millimeter sharps, the fat ones. Maximum regulation side in World Archery competition. He's called out a full 32 as Robin Chatner puts his hand up and says, I'm going for the 12 ring as well.
Oh, and he's hit it as well. First time of asking, and here, look at the cheer. Listen to that in Estonia. Yatma has got the perfect score of 32 with this new 12 ring and has just taken Estonia into the lead. A brave start from Nicolas Girard, going for the 12 with the very first arrow. And it looks like he may well have been marked up to a 32 as well. These two have put down a marker very, very early, and there's nothing between them, and an unusual scoreline of 32 plays 32.
It's a very, very strange number to roll off your tongue, isn't it, Karen? Doesn't quite fit in normal archery terms. I love how Nicolas Girard came out shooting, laid down that marker with a perfect 12 to start off. Robin Yatma, clearly stepping up to the plate, not surrendering anything early in this one.
No, he certainly wasn't surrendering anything early, and right into the centre of that 12 ring as well. So all square after the first. Let's go to end number 2. So here we are in Dijon. Guess what? Nicolas Girard is going for the 12 again. Oh, these two can't miss the 12. That's a brilliant shot again. Yatma sticking to his guns here and going for the regular centre of the target. And hitting it. You saw the grimace on Girard's face there, just dropping down into the 9.
And this kind of end is really going to make Yatma think when it comes to the third arrow, because Girard, he got that 12 with the first one, but dropped a point with the second one. So Yatma can stay in contention even if he surrenders a bit of a lead, if he doesn't go for the 12 with the last arrow. Although that 9 might have changed his thought process. We'll have to see after Girard's last shot.
Oh, lovely into the centre. Well, he did go for it, and he's hit it again. A remarkable performance from both of these athletes. Gone for the 12 ring twice in the first 2 ends and both hit it. Chris, great innovation for me. I love it.
It really gives a new dynamic to the match, doesn't it? It's strategy, there's choice, and there's choice about when to shoot it, there's choice about how often to shoot it. I think we'll see more of these decisions come into play, especially as we advance into the latter stages of this match and get into the team contest where, you know, it really matters.
Yeah, it really does matter. And look, you know, the ranges are still being cleared here. It's interesting to note that this 12 point is not just a new thing, but these archers haven't really been training or certainly not been competing as they normally would, obviously due to the global pandemic. To hit that so consistently with these two is totally impressive.
It's only a little bit smaller than the 10 ring on a compound target. It's hard, but it's not unattainable.
Yeah, well, looks like we are clear to shoot again, so let's go to end number 3 of this fascinating match. Here we go. He's going for it again. I think we could predict that. Will he hit it for a 3rd time in a row? Ah, that's the best of the lot, right in the middle of the 12 ring. 3 out of 3 for Nicolas Girard. Sticking with his process, you can see the groupings there, the holes that were previously shot for Yatma. Very, very close indeed. Now that one is a bit too close for me to call.
I'll be generous. I think that's clipped the 10 ring. I think we know who will be shooting at that top target in the team match. It's the same target we're using when we get to the team contest that decides this game. Only one 12 ring per end to shoot. Only one archer can go for it.
Well, just pulling it down low and right into the 9. So are we going to get another 32 from Nicolas Girard? It does look like a 10. That's definitely a stronger call for a 10 than the second arrow. So a 32 for Girard, and the hand goes up from Robin Yatma. Nicolas Girard has hit his 3 12s. Yatma going for his 3rd consecutive one. And he's hit it as well. This is remarkable from these two. They've gone for the 12 ring, this 15mm diameter 12 ring 3 times, and they've hit it 3 times. Chris, do you think they've been practicing?
Well, we sent them 75 of these targets. They needed 10 for this final. 1 clean, 1 per match, and a couple for the shoot-offs if we have them at the end. So they've had plenty of targets to practice at. It's just obviously if they've had time, lockdowns all over Europe, and not everybody can could go and practice at the moment. It's a difficult time, a challenging time we're going through, and that's why we're having to bring you live archery like this. But at least we're bringing some live archery.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's fantastic. And I think the innovation and the ability, opportunities that have come out of these various travel restrictions have allowed us to play with the rules in innovative ways, and it makes for very, very entertaining sport. Well, look, here we have Nicolas Girard and Robin Yatma having both hit the 12 ring 3 times in 3 ends. The French team Arc System leading 95 to 94. It's time for end number 4. So what do you say, Nicolas Girard? He's going for the 12 again. Can he make it? 4 out of 4. Yes, he can. What a remarkable bit of shooting from Nicolas Girard. Impressive grouping continues from Robin Yatma. Well, I wonder if Chris is going to be generous with that one.
A little bit low and left, mostly low on that bottom left-hand target for Nicolas Girard, but he's obviously got his sights set because he would be hitting that 12 ring if he didn't.
And spot on from Yatma into the 10, so he's on a regular perfect. So, a 32 scored by the scorers, a 31 on our scoring system for Girard. So this is out of reach either way for Robin Yatma. But he hits his fourth 12 in a row, and well, I'm going to say it, Chris, history's being made here. The 12 ring being called for and hit 100% of the time by both archers for the first time in an international match.
Yeah, and what a crazy result line that is. 126, there's 126 on our scoreboard. We need to check though, because that bottom left arrow in the bottom left spot, if it caught it, it'll make a big difference to the outcome of this contest. Maybe we can have a look at the target down at the arc system before they change it. See if we can get an idea of whether that's been called in or not. I'm looking at the confirmed results, and I think what we had is correct, which means it's a tie, Karen.
Well, there you go. That 10 for Girard for his second arrow was indeed marked down to a 9. And like you say, 126 plays 126 in a thrilling third individual match. Sees them tied up and a bonus point to each team. So we go into the team match with Estonia leading Arc System by 3 bonus points to 1. Is that right, Chris?
It looks like it. We'll take a look at the scores on the doors in a moment. I think we're just going to wait until the archers reset the fields. They're going to come and have a little chat with us just to make sure we understand who's going to kick us off. But what a phenomenal start to this contest. A load of attempts at the 12 ring. There was an attempt at the 12 ring every single time from the Arc System gang, and a lot of hits at the 12 ring by the third archers from both teams. I'm really interested to see what the order of rotation is for the team event that Arc System throw out, because I expect Girard to go first or last or middle, but always go for that 12 ring.
Yeah, it will be interesting, and I think you're right. Well, let's see if we can attract the archers to the camera so we can have a chat with them and make sure they've got the rules clear. They know they know what we're shooting here for this match, and also that they know or we know what their order is and whether they're sticking with it. So looks like the Estonian team are nearly ready. What about in France?
I think we'll skip that. I think they know what they're doing.
It looks like they are ready to shoot at both sides of, or both ends of Europe, in Dijon on the left-hand side of your screen and in Tallinn on the right. So let's go straight to the team match. So here we have it, the team match. They will shoot alternately, and we've got Lola Grandjean shooting first for Arc System. Well, going into the bottom left target, high and right. Now, I just want to let you know that the score should be 1 point to 3 because of the results of our individual. And there you go, you have it. So the 9 scored by Arc System in the first arrow is actually now taking the total score up to 10. And into the 10 ring for the Estonians. Adrien Gontier shooting for Arc System. Their captain shooting second, so they're shooting in the same order as the individual tournament. And he's hit the 10 ring there, bottom right. So back to Estonia, Marita pass. So again, Team Estonia shooting in the same order as they did for the individual. She's hit the 10 ring. So, 12s. Yes, it is in France. Nicolas Girard going for his 5th consecutive 12, but this time in the team competition. You can't miss it. Brilliant performance. A 31 in the first end for Arc System. And Robin Yatma, what's your call? Yeah, we see the hand going up, and it is a 12 for him. And of course, he's on for a 32, the new perfect. He's missed it for the first time, gone left and low and into the 7. So it looks to me like a lot of those points have been chewed up. The bonus points have already been chewed up after end number 1, Chris.
Well, we were wondering if that approach from the French team, the Arc System, was going to pay off going for the 12. They lost those first 2 individual matches, and then Nicolas Girard and Robin Yatma tied in the 3rd one for one bonus point each. And look, they just come out shooting exactly the same way as they did beforehand. And that 2-point advantage that the Estonian team is out the window. It's not out the window because of Nicolas Girard's 12 so much, but because Robin Yatma went for it as well and got a 7. That's a 5-point swing. Huge, trailing by 2 after this first end.
Yeah, massive use of the 12 ring tactically there, and I think Chris has pulled it out completely. It might have been wiser for Yatma to go for the 10 in the final, but that didn't happen, so we move on to end number 2.
And it'll be Estonia shooting first for us this time.
Grosjean looking ready to go, as is Lizel Yatma. The Estonians now trailing, will shoot first. Hits the 10. Matched by Grosjean. Pass ready to shoot second for Estonia. So 20 for Estonia, and Gontier ready to shoot in Dijon. So 12 being called by Yatma. He's hit it 4 times already, missed on his last attempt. Hits it this time, the big cheer from his teammates, Lizel and Mary Marita. Over to you, Nicolas. He's going for the 12 again as well. Let's not forget, he's not missed it. Ooh, close, but I think, as Chris has said before, the fat arrows may have given him that one. What do you say, Chris?
Yeah, it's just underneath the 12 spot, the 12 dot, but the width of that arrow, 9.3 millimeters, it's going to have carried the top edge to break the line. Not without a doubt, but almost definitely A fantastic, bold approach from Johan Jatma. He didn't really need to go for that 12 on that last arrow. So to make it contentious, but he did. He puts the pressure on Arc System. The thing is, the swings here could be massive. Nicolas Girard's hit 6 12s in a row. If he misses one of those, they could be in a completely different spot right now. It's all over the place. As it is, halfway through this team final, it's the Arc System team from France, 2 points up.
Yeah, a real turnaround from the individual matches, but let's just note that both Girard and Robin Jatma have gone for the 12 at every opportunity, and the score was 32-32 in end number 2 between these two amazing teams. Looks like we are clear to shoot again. Estonia trailing from once where they led. It's time for end number 3. So here in Tallinn, pressure on for Liesel Jatma. So high and left into the 9 for Arc System. Lola Grandjean ready to shoot already. They have been keen throughout this semi-final.
Yep.
Elle va chercher.
Well, perfect so far from Arc System in this third end. Jatma going for the 12 again. I'd say this time he needs to hit it. You've got to assume his opponent is going to go for it as well, and I think Jatma needs him to miss it. Dialed in. Oh, that's another close one, but the fat arrow is probably going to get him the 12, and a 31 for Team Estonia. There we go. A call from Nicolas Girard on for a second consecutive perfect, new perfect, 32, and then number 3 for Arc System. And he's hit it again. He can't miss that 12, and he's edging Arc System ever closer to the win here in this first semi-final on Compound Saturday. A brilliant performance again from Arc System. Their tactics have worked really well, and now that they've grabbed the lead, they don't necessarily have to go for the 12, but on Girard's form, they're going to go for it every time, right?
Well, it's almost a bit risky at this point, isn't it? Because they've built that lead, now looking like a 3-point lead, and the swing, if they miss the 12, could be a big one. But Robin Jatma has been really good as well, right? He's missed that first one in the first end, but out of those 7 attempts at the small wide dot, he's hit it 6 times. But if he'd hit that 7, or if he'd hit that first one of the team final as well, they'd be ahead in this match and looking like they were going to take this home. So I think once you're in the groove, why let off the gas? You just got to keep going and run that as far as possible.
I think you're right. You keep the momentum going. The ranges are clear. Estonia came into the team match leading this competition. They are now trailing by 3 points as we go into the 4th and final end. So Liesel Jatma ready. There we have confirmation of the running score for this team match. 96 to Arc System here. Jatma on 93. A good start required here. And she gets just that. Lola Grandjean. See that she's staring at the screen. She's actually looking to see when she's popped up on her screen at her end, because that's her signal. Just drifting off to the right, but look at that grouping for her in that bottom left target. Very, very tight, just a little over 2 centimetres, you have to say. Very Marita pass. Yeah, wanting to keep the pressure on for Estonia. They've clawed back 1 point. Wow, Chris, is that the fat arrow giving Gontier the 10 there?
You heard Sébastien Brasseur, the French coach and coach for this Arc System team, say parfait in the background. Might just have been a word of encouragement. Really important arrow now from Robin Yatma, going for the 12.
Words of encouragement, but it's Yatma who yet again is going for the 12. And he's hit it again. 3 12s for Yatma in this team competition. They are on 125. Does Nicolas Girard go for it? He's going for the 12. Can he hit it again? This is a big call here, because the 10 would be enough to draw the teams level. Oh, he's gone for the 12 and he's hit it. They needed to hit it, and they have kept a 2-point lead going into the fourth, I should say, right the way through it, and they have taken this semi-final. They were behind going into the team competition, but it was their determination to stick with hitting the 12 ring that has brought them through all the individual matches, trailing, and then turned it around in the team event. Chris, stunning first semi-final.
Absolutely, and we saw through those first 2 individual matches, you know, the 12 ring wasn't being hit all that much, and then Nicolas Girard, Robin Yatma stepped up to the plate and just delivered an exceptional third individual match and an exceptional team match as well. Let's just check if those scores confirm, but I think they have been, and I think this is a win for Arc System, 127 points to 125. What a fantastic job. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to the guys from Arc System.
Yeah, brilliant performance from them. Getting a view from both fields of play on the right in Tallinn. I think they're scratching their heads. How could they have come through those individual matches, having shot so well and not come through? And the joy in Dijon. Now let's see if we can get the winning team to the camera at the back. It looks like 2 of them are ready. Lola Grandjean there, and well, the star player Nicolas Girard there with the baseball cap in shot. Hopefully they can hear us. There is Adrien Gontier, the team captain as well, as we'd love to have a word with them. Arc System, can you hear us? Can you come to the camera? I'm not sure they can hear us, Chris.
I think they go to the other camera. That's it. Hello, guys. Stay there. Don't move. How was it? Did you enjoy that? The 12 ring, fantastic. Okay, perfect. Guys, congratulations, great match. You went out with the plan to shoot the 12 ring. What was the thinking behind that approach?
Please repeat.
Can you repeat?
You wanted to. You came out in that match shooting the 12 ring. What was your thinking behind the approach of going for the 12 every single end?
Ok. En gros, c'était quoi notre approche? Comment on a pensé le truc par rapport à channel view? Yes, we want to play the game because that's a funny game, so we want to play, and that's why.
Well, it looks like we're having a few technical problems here. We can't quite get the sound from France. Maybe Lola, you can stand a little bit closer to your camera.
Yeah.
Oh yes, we can hear you now. Can you say something?
I said that we are very happy because we are players, so we wanted to to try to shoot a lot of 12. So that's a new game and it's funny.
It was incredible to watch you, and hats off to all three of you for sticking with the tactic, but in particular, Nicolas' performance around the 12.
Yeah.
Has Nicolas been practicing a lot?
We are shooting outdoors actually, but yes, we try yesterday and today, and he's very good to shoot in the 12 ring. So that's cool.
It's very cool indeed. And do you as a team want the 12 ring to be included in all competitions?
Est-ce que vous voulez que ce soit dans toutes les compétitions?
Yes.
Yes, yes. That's funny.
Of course, of course. Chris, hopefully we've got your sound back. Do you have any more questions for Arc System, the winners of the first semi-finals?
No, congratulations, guys. Looking forward to seeing you in the final a little bit later on.
Thank you.
We'll let you get ready.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, Arc System, winners of our first semi-final. So we are now going to move our attention to the other semi-final to see who Arc System will face in the final a little bit later on today. But before we do, should we have a little recap of the rules, Chris?
I think we should, Karen.
Here we go. So as you saw in the first semi-final, it's teams of 3 who will split up and pair up to have 3 individual matches. If you win a match, you get a point for your team, and if a match is drawn, both teams get a point. And those bonus points go to the start of the team match, where all 3 will face each other and go through 4 ends. And it's that match that is all important. Win, and you're through to the final. And looking at the target, it's the triple spot target we're using today in this triangular formation. The center of the target is where you score most points. It's called the 10 ring, and it's just 2 centimeters in diameter. And to make things more exciting today on Compound Saturday, we've got the 12 ring back. It's just 15 millimeters wide, and archers must declare their intention to shoot it prior to drawing the bow, and it can only be used a maximum of once per end. It's sure to bring us more excitement as well, the 12 ring. It really has come to the fore and come into play already today.
Yeah, it was fantastic in that first match. That strategy of when to shoot, when not to shoot, and we saw a couple of times they went for it even though they didn't need to. So they're not choosing to think about it at the moment. But you know, when it comes to that last arrow, there's a little bit of uncertainty. Should Girard have gone for it with his last arrow when a 10 was enough to tie? Because if he misses that 12 ring, it's a lost match. You know, there's a lot of decisions to make, and we'll see how that plays out as we go on. I didn't think that was going to work out for Arc System when they started those first 2 matches, and the 12 wasn't helping them out at all. But Nicolas Girard, the MVP, most valuable archer in our first game today.
Yeah, fascinating. It'd be interesting to see what the two teams in the second semi-final do with it, and you know whether there's been any general discussion between the 2 teams, because we've got an all-American second semi-final.
Yeah, we're waiting for the Eastern team to connect just right now. Lots of moving parts, lots of moving cameras and different locations coming on board at the moment. We've got an experienced Eastern team, Rio Wild, Linda Ochoa Anderson, and Chris Schaff going up against some hotshots. A young team from the northern USA. Two members of the Cadets Compound Men's gold medal winning team from the 2019 World Archery Youth Championships, and a young lady, 14-year-old, who's never shot in a major event before. So a real contrast in teams.
Right, well, I can see that you've stopped talking, Chris, but I couldn't hear anything that you said then, so I'm sure it was fascinating, though. But struggling a little bit with your sound, which puts it all down to me now to explain what's going to happen next. Well, we're basically going to have the second semi-final on Compound Saturday, and then as the schedule allows for a short break, it gives our second semi-final winners an opportunity just to down tools, and we can get things set up here for the final. So there will be a very short break of about an hour after the second semi-finals before we go to the compound team finals. Now, as I said, the second semi-final is between two American teams. A team who are shooting under the banner of the Eastern archery manufacturer, and a team, well, aptly named the Hot Shots. And it's a really fascinating semi-final. I'm sure Chris has already mentioned this, that it's a bit of age versus or experience versus youth here, as we see Chris Schaff, Linda Ochoa Anderson and Rio Wild. Oh, there you go. This is the lineup for the individual matches. On the left we've got Team Eastern, and the Hot Shots on the right, the youngsters Sawyer Sullivan, Cole Zoig and Brielle Ochnich will go in that order in the individual matches. So Team Eastern, a more experienced, more familiar names on the left-hand side against a young American team. Now, I'm wondering if we've got Chris back.
Can you hear me, Karen?
I can hear you, Chris. It's marvellous to have you back as well.
I know you missed me.
Youth versus experience here. Now, this pandemic has presented an opportunity, as I like to say. Many opportunities have been presented in this time. One is the ability to play around with the rules, and the other is the opportunity to show the world new archers that perhaps they haven't seen before, and this is exactly what we've got right here.
Yeah, we've said about that in past productions. We don't know what's happened over this last year. We haven't had international events. We don't know who's improved, who's bounced, who's jumped up in quality and talent level. And a good example of this is these Hot Shots, young archers, 14, 16, 17 years old, who've had success as cadets over the last year, have had another year to get better and really come into their own. They were a surprise qualifier for this final. It all came down to the fourth stage, the fourth remote stage of the Indoor World Series. They shot a fantastic team score to jump up into a tied third spot with Estonia, who we've just seen eliminated from this event in that first semi-final, to qualify against a very, very experienced group of archers from the USA. It'll be a real contrast. Obviously, the youngsters have nothing to lose at all in this one. Interested to see how it goes.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, that point is quite critical as well in terms of how the teams have got to this event, to these two semi-finals. And you're saying that actually it was at the last event when the Hot Shots did enough. So whilst they might be grouped individually, individually they might be ranked a little bit lower, as a group, their overall scores have pushed them into the ranking for this semi-final.
Well, yeah, it's the combined 60 arrow scores of each of the stages that's made up the team score, and then that team score is what's qualified them or ranked all the teams, and we've ranked them on their single best score across the year, and these guys just put together a decent team score in the last stage. A few of them good scores, good team score, pushed them up into fourth place. It didn't do any good to have one archer with a great score, the other archers with a medium score or a low score. Just three solid scores is what's won these archers a spot here. And I don't think there's a weak link. If they put the right pressure on, as we've seen in that first match, that first game, this could be anyone's.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The 12 ring really does bring everything into play, and as you say, there's all these other little factors that are crucial to this match. No pressure on the youngsters, a lack of regular practice for perhaps the more experienced archers, and it does add a certain bit of spice to this second semi-final. Now, what I can tell you, Chris, and everyone at home, is that we're still trying to get all our connections up and running with the two teams in the USA. We're based, I'm based here in the UK, in Scotland, and the production company's house, and we are trying to connect with two teams that are based across the Atlantic Ocean in the USA. And so, as we expected, there are always going to be some challenges in this new normal way of producing sports. So, Chris, let's come back to archery and all these innovations that have taken place over the past 12 months. Does look like we're starting to take tentative steps to a return of what we're used to with competition archery.
Yeah, this is all well and good, and the small events we've had over the indoor season are lovely to fill the gap, and it's been especially good for people to get involved. The whole mass participation aspect of the Indoor World Series. But looking ahead to the rest of the year, we've got the Olympic Games in Tokyo coming up. We've got the qualification events for the Olympic Games, and we've got our World Cup Series starting in just 2 months' time in Guatemala City. I'm really looking forward to getting back to normal competition. We won't be doing everything the same. There's been developments, there's been steps forwards, and some of the things we've learned from doing these different events through the winter season, through last year with you, Karen, they'll change how we approach stuff, but it shouldn't make any difference in the overall product. We'll have a good quality archery broadcast coming for you from multiple cities around the world, and we just hope that everyone's able to compete when they want to compete, when they can compete, and we can get back to some high-level circus archery again in 2021.
And you mentioned the Olympic Games. Qualification has obviously been delayed, but has it been adapted? Has it had to change because of the COVID-19 crisis, or have you been able to stick with the same process that just pushed on one year?
Well, a few things have changed. The Oceania qualifying tournament, continental qualification tournament, what was cancelled. So that's been integrated into another way of giving out the spaces. This could be based on previous results due to the fact that Oceania travelling to another tournament is very difficult at the moment. We have to accept the reality of the current situation, and that is that travel is difficult, especially intercontinental and even some international travel. Otherwise, we're going right ahead at the end of March with the Americas qualification tournament. We'll have the European qualification tournament in June, I believe it is, early June in Antalya, before the final qualifying tournament in Paris, alongside the third stage of the Hyundai Archery World Cup. And I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully, by then, we'll all be, well settled into the new normal of doing things. There'll be mask wearing. There's a lot more, sanitization, a lot more procedure around how things are going to work. But in Paris, we know we're going to be awarding places to the Olympics, and hopefully people can just concentrate on booking their spots to the Games.
Yeah, and of course Paris is a fitting place to have the final qualification for Tokyo, because it will take over the Olympic flag from Tokyo for the Summer Games, at least in the next quadrennial, except it's not the next quadrennial at all, is it? How does the fact that the gap between Tokyo and Paris, the fact that it's shortened by 12 months, affect a World Federation like World Archery? Does it make a big difference?
Right, it makes a big difference to all the athletes more than anything. There's 5 years in between these two Olympic Games and only 3 years in between the next two Olympic Games. You haven't got that year of chill, although I'm not sure how many archers really chill in the year after the Olympics. For us, the whole plan was to have the three events, the three World Cup stages in the lead up to Paris at the Games taking place in the preceding years. So Berlin was initially supposed to hold the final qualification tournament in 2020 with its last year of stages of the Hyundai Archery World Cup. With the delay, that switched over to Paris, and Paris will now hold a stage in 21, 22 and 23 before the Olympic Games in 2024. It's very, very close, but there's another big event to get out of the way before then.
Yes, there certainly is, and we are all looking forward, of course, to not just the conclusion of the qualification for archery, but actually seeing archery in Tokyo. And I'm sure that everyone is working very hard behind the scenes to ensure that all these things not only happen, but happen safely. So, Chris, an update from me about where we are today. Let's come back to today. It looks like we've had to re-establish some connections. It looks like we're nearly there. So a couple more questions for you whilst we have to fill this little gap for technical reasons. Our first one is, I've talked often about opportunities that the pandemic has offered to people, opportunity to rest for some athletes that perhaps not rested for Olympic cycles, an opportunity for some youngsters to get showcased on these great productions that you've come up with, and an opportunity to play with the rules. Do you think any of these tests, these innovations, these new trials of things will carry on into the future?
Well, absolutely. We're going to take a very good example, actually. Karim, is yourself. You're commentating from Glasgow on this live event. And we'll be going forward with that in the future. We used to fly people around the world to commentate. And at this time, we're going to be putting you in Glasgow, not me in Lausanne, because this is not my calling and my sound is atrocious, apparently. But these small innovations make a huge difference because it makes us able to do more and more events and really give a better overall product out and cover archery in a better way. In terms of the rules and stuff, it's all a bit of learning. This is a bit of fun today. We'll have to see how this and the Indoor World Series as a whole, went. 6,000, 7,000 people over the course of the winter took part from their own ranges to different locations around the world. So very, very important that we evaluate correctly and we see how we take this forward and use it in the future.
Yeah, I mean the innovations have been forced upon us, but I think there's plenty for us to carry on into the future, like you say, perhaps with these remote tournaments carrying on alongside our more traditional sports. So let's come back to our second semi-final. Well, let's first off look at who the winners of the second semi-final are going to face. Remarkable performance by Arc System. This tactic that they used of going for the 12, are we going to see that from one of these teams? Do you think the two American teams have been watching the first semi-final?
Well, I think they've probably had a little look at it for sure. I think it's a very bold approach, frankly. I think going for the 12 when you need it or to make it different in the match, we can see that happening. But to come out and shoot it each and every end, that's a hugely difficult and bold way to go. I think the Team Eastern will be a little bit more measured. I don't think they'll go so aggressive. Hot shots may, but the thing is, if in the final, if either of these teams go forward and our team in France, Arc System, come out with the same approach, I mean, will it be enough just to go for the 10 ring? Maybe they were lucky in the first. Maybe Nicolas Girard's luck will run out. But yeah. It's a question that needs to be answered.
Yeah, it is a question that needs to be answered. And here is the lineup of the three individual matches. Remember, teams of three compete in three individual legs first. And if you win your individual match, you get a bonus point for the start of your team competition, which follows the three individuals. If an individual match is tied, both teams get a point, and those points are then added to the start of the all-important team match that comes at the end, where the three teams go into a more traditional team lineup where it's 3 versus 3. They'll shoot alternatively over 4 ends, and the winner of that competition will book their place in the final against Arc System. So Team Eastern lining up with Chris Schaff, Linda Ochoa Anderson and Rio Wild. Are they more experienced and more familiar team from the USA, and they go up against the hotshots, the younger American team, perhaps the ones that we are going to be seeing more of in the future: Sawyer Sullivan, Cole Zoig and Briel Ochnich. So that is the semi-final lineup for a place in the final against Arc System. Chris, you've done a tiny bit of travel when restrictions have allowed during this last 12 months. Have you had an opportunity to speak to any of the American teams that we've got in this semi-final? Do we know how much they've been practicing, for example?
We tuned in with these guys yesterday to do a test of the technical requirements, and they were all down the range, taking some arrows in these young hotshots. The Team Eastern guys, we know they've travelled over to Rio Wild's house, in fact, home range, to shoot in this one. We know he hasn't got any technical issues. Incredible upload speed, same as Estonia. 100 million, 100 megabits a second. So we know they've been down the range. The US, they've been able to shoot for quite some time, a little more than in Europe. Hasn't stopped the elite archers practicing. The guys in Arc System have a pass to use a closed sports range for this international competition. But I know people don't want to take this lightly. You know, the Arc System guys had a jovial approach, but it's not a joke. This competition, there is money up for grabs.
Yeah, 5,000 Swiss francs is not anything to shirk at, and I'm sure that the teams will be. Whilst there was, like you say, there was a bit of humour and not taking themselves too seriously in France. They clearly showed that they're up for business and they meant business. So here's a question for you. So Rio Wild's internet speeds are phenomenal, and we need to find out who his internet provider is. This young team, this Hotshots team, having technical issues. That's why you and I are still talking away here. But do you think that's going to add a little bit more pressure on them? They're going to feel, oh no, we've let everybody down, and we've delayed things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not easy. Providing your own cameras and connecting separately, that's going to be a bit of a challenge. Hopefully we'll get them on soon. They've just got to reset. They've got time as well. Remember, it's the team match that matters. Those first 3 individual matches can only change the score by a point or so here and there. So as long as they're stable and collected, had their warm-up, obviously you don't want to be trailing going into the team match, but there's still an opportunity, always an opportunity with the 12 ring. They've got time to settle themselves when they get this connection sorted, and we'll get them on. And they've got nothing to lose. They've still got nothing to lose.
Of course, they've got nothing to lose. Now, I'm hearing now that the technical problems are advancing. The problem's not advancing, the solution is advancing. They've now decided to switch from a standard internet connection to using a 4G connection. But I understand that we might still be waiting a little while for them. So what is this going to have a knock-on effect on our schedule, Chris?
Hopefully we'll get them on in the next few minutes, and then there will be no change to the schedule. But let's just see. We're flexible, Karen. We've got nothing better to be doing on a Saturday night.
Absolutely not. I would absolutely prefer to be here. Look, we are very flexible, but we're going to just take a very short break. Don't disappear. We're going to keep this broadcast going, but we're going to bring up just a little bumper, and we'll fix the problems with the Hotshots, and we'll be back with you for semi-final number 2. Well, Chris, we're back, and we fixed the technical problems. It's the Indoor Archery World Series Finals, semi-final number 2. Shall we meet the teams, Chris?
Yes, get on with it, Karen. Let's get going.
Well, first up, it's the number 1 ranked team. It's Team Eastern. Hello, Team Eastern. Are you ready? Yeah, looks like they're ready there. Hello to all of you. And you are up against the Hot Shots. Hot Shots, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
There they are, the Hot Shots getting ready for the competition. They had some technical issues, but it looks like we have got them back. Chris, do you have some words for our teams?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've gone through the rules with you guys as well. We know you're both understanding how this is going to work. And all of the individual matches, it's the highest ranked team whose archer starts off. So that's for you, Team Eastern. And then in subsequent ends, it'll be the trailing archer or team that kicks us off. I don't think there's anything else left to say. We know who our first matchup is. It's Chris Schaff against Sawyer Sullivan. So you guys can get ready and go to the line, get your bows, and we'll come out of the bumper straight on to Chris to start us off, and we'll take a look at the matchups.
Yeah, well, yes, let's have a quick look at the matchup. As Chris said, Chris Schaff against Sawyer Sullivan in individual match number 1, followed by Linda Ochoa-Anderson against Cole Zoig, and Rio Wild up against Brill Ochnich. That is Team Eastern against the Hot Shots. So let's go to match number 1. Chris Schaff there, ready to go. Let's get this second semi-final underway. A great start from Team Eastern. Straight into the 10. And we go over to the Hot Shots and Sawyer Sullivan. Two 10s back to Shaft, and they are motoring through this. Just dropping out into the line low and right.
Switches to This is smooth.
So all square, remember 3 arrows per end. So Shaft will want to get a 10 to put some pressure on his young opponent. And he does just that. So a 29 for Chris Shaft in end number 1. And hand raise from Sawyer Sullivan, going for the 12 and making a little bit of an adjustment there. So clearly he's been practicing this, making an adjustment to the sight. I'm sure Chris will give us an insight into what he was doing there, but going for the 12 here. Oh, and he's hit it first time. Sawyer Sullivan has stolen the first with a 12 to finish. And look at the smile of, well, I suppose surprise, astonishment from Chris Schaff there. Chris, amazing performance from Sawyer Sullivan there, matching Schaff through the first 2 arrows and then, well, going for it for the 12 on the last.
Yeah, and like we said in this match, the hotshots have nothing to lose. If they come out firing and hit a few of those 12 rings, it's going to really change the dynamic of what we're seeing in this contest. Chris Schaff, a hugely talented archer, Hyundai Archery World Cup champion a few years ago, Indoor Archery World Series a few years ago. We've got young Sawyer Sullivan leading this one after the first 3 arrows, 31 to 29. We saw him switch his sight a little bit before that last arrow going for the 12 ring. I think he was pushing it up a bit, so if it went out of the 12 ring, the 12 dot, it would go high and maybe clip the 9. He's playing a risk game there. Maybe he aimed a little bit high in the dot as well. Clever approach from this young man.
Yeah, and you can see that, well, both of the archers are keen to crack on, but Sawyer Sullivan fist bumping one of his teammates or support team there, but that's given him a great deal of confidence. Let's see what happens in end number 2. We're ready to go. Chris Schaff on the line. This time he shoots first by virtue of trailing and puts it into the 9 ring. So back to the hot shots. Oh, that's exceptionally close. I think that may well have clipped the 10-ring line. Back into the centre for Chris Schaff. Now that one is a 9, so both square again on 19. Will Schaff go for the 12 here? Well, we didn't see a call for the 12. Long hold, and has gone for the 10 in the top target and hit the 10, so a 29. So Sawyer, will he call for the 12 again? It doesn't look like he is, but he knows that the 10 will be enough for a perfect 30, a normal perfect 30. Sorry, a 29 shot. Now he's clipped the ring there, so that is a 29, subject to a measure probably of that first arrow. Chris, what are your thoughts on Sawyer Sullivan's first arrow?
Yeah, I think this is a 10 of that first arrow. It just clips it high and right. That would be a 29 in this second end and a 60 overall, despite the 9s. Very, very strange to say. And still a 2-point lead on Chris Schaff, who is not taking any risks at this stage. He was trailing by 2. That's a perfect opportunity to go for the 12 and level things up. We're only 6 hours into a 12-hour match. He's not rushing things. He's waiting to see how this plays out over the third end and how he's placed coming into the deciding few arrows.
Yeah, interesting tactics from both, but only gone for the 12 once, Sawyer Sullivan, and he was very happy to not elect to go for it the second time. So varying tactics being played on the fly. It looks like the ranges are clear for Team Eastern and for the hot shots, so let's go straight to end number 3. So Chris Schaff ready to shoot first in end number 3. Just waiting for the picture to change. There it is, and he will get the third end underway. Well, looks like he's pulled that one, tried to sort of guide it. I think that may well have clipped the 10-ring line, so I'm going to call that a 10 for now. Right, well, Chris Schaff has found the centre of the target here. A bit of a longer hold this time, but it looks like it's gone into the 10 there for Sawyer Sullivan.
Yeah, great performance from him so far as well, clipping the top of that 10 ring with his first 2 hours of this end. I think he is aiming a little high. He's adjusted his sight so he clips high in case he's going to go for that 12. Interesting, well thought out strategy from the young group here, because despite that perfect 30 from Chris Schaff, a 10 here will retain a 2-point lead ahead of the fourth end.
And it is a 10, so it's a perfect 30 by both teams, and the young hotshots still leading by 2 points here. Chris Schaff looking on intently to see what Sawyer Sullivan is shooting, and it's been a delayed semi-final due to technical issues that were actually all happening where the hotshots are shooting, but it hasn't put them off one tiny little bit, Chris.
No, and a fantastic opening performance, you know. This young team, they've got nothing to lose, as we've said, shooting against three giants from the US, three giants of the sport in Rio, Chris and Linda, who we'll all see coming up. And they had to make a splash early, and Sawyer Sullivan, part of that cadet compound men's goal-winning team at the last World Youth Championships, making a statement here in this first individual match.
Certainly are. Well, range is clear for both teams. Let's go to the fourth and final end. So Chris Schaff will shoot first again. Into the 10 ring again, really has dialed in. That one is, well, you look at the grouping of that bottom left target for Sawyer Sullivan, very, very close indeed, but now it's making it difficult to see whether that's a 9 or a 10. Chris, are we going to be generous here?
Yeah, that's a 10, I think. Again, almost hitting the same hole with every single arrow.
Well, door open again as Chris Schaff shoots a 9. Sawyer Sullivan, another opportunity to open the lead up here for this young team. And he has indeed. Look at the groupings on all three of the targets. Absolutely phenomenal. Standout 12, and there is the raised finger from Chris Schaff. He is going for the 12. He knows he's got to, and even if he hits it, the Hotshots can still take this first match. He has hit it, so Chris Schaff, first attempt at the 12, gets a 31 in the fourth end, finishing score of 119. Now Sawyer Sullivan is on 110. A regular top score of 10 will be enough to take the first match. And it looks like he has indeed clipped that 9-10 ring again, and it got another perfect 30 and a total score of 120 after Chris Schaff, team captain of Team Eastern, was forced into shooting for the 12, hitting it but still losing. Chris, what a match, and how much is that going to hurt Chris Schaff and Team Eastern?
Well, I mean, what a fantastic start from Sawyer Sullivan. Comes out, shoots the 12 in the first end and takes an early advantage. Chris Schaff didn't panic, waited until he needed to shoot that 12, but did so with his last arrow. We just need to wait for confirmation because it's all about that last arrow from Sawyer Sullivan. If it's downgraded to a 9, then it'll be a tied match and they'll both receive 1 bonus point. If it stays as a 10, then it will be 1 bonus point for the Hotshots, and a very different start to this match that we expected. I don't know if we're going to see down closer to the targets and see if we can see any arrow holes, because they're still pulling on that target down at the Hotshots range. Just waiting for confirmation still.
Yeah, we certainly are. Now they just pulled that top arrow out. To me, that looked like it was a 10.
No, I don't think so, Karen. That's been confirmed down to a 9. So 119 plays 119, and that's 1 bonus point apiece there. Chris Schaff got away with 1 there. If that had hit the 10, he'd have lost the match. But it's 1 plays 1, and we'll move on to our second lineup. Linda Ochoa versus Cole Zoig.
Well, fascinating match there between Chris Schaff and Sawyer Sullivan. I really thought Sawyer Sullivan had taken it, but as Chris Wells pointed out, that final arrow was marked down from a 10 to a 9, which put the two teams level in match 1 on 119 points and a bonus point for each team going into the team matches. So we go to our second lineup, as Chris said. Linda Ochoa Anderson against Cole Zoig, the captain of the Hotshots. Looks like the ranges are all but clear. Hotshots just still putting a new target on down there. And we've been through one. They made us wait for this second semi-final. Well, boy, what a cracking start. All square between the young pretenders, the Hotshots on the right-hand side of your screen, and the old reliables in Team Eastern on the left-hand side. And I use the word old in relative terms, of course. None of them are as old as me. So it looks like the range for the Hotshots is ready to go. Let's go to match number 2. So Linda Ochoa Anderson here on the line for Team Eastern to shoot the first arrow of the second match. Straight into the 10. And here we see our first sight of Cole Zoig, team captain for the Hotshots. And that's, wow, actually, the shadows may be just slightly distracting there. Has that clipped the 10 ring or not, Chris?
Yeah, that fat arrow, 9.3 millimeters, the maximum. That'll have just edged the bottom of that tiny 2 centimeter 10 ring.
Well, that has gone deep into the 8. not the greatest shot, and a great opportunity here for Zoig to edge the hot shots ahead. And again, all those fat arrows produce a 10 there. So an adjustment there from Linda Ochoa-Anderson, but still in the 9 for a 27. And this is a big opportunity for Zoig to push open the lead in this second match. And every single one of those arrows has been just close to and clipping at the 10 ring, and that for me is a perfect 30 for Cole Zoig. And as you can see, the final arrow hasn't been marked up there, but it should be 27 plays 30 and a 3-point lead for the young hotshots. Chris, dotting around the 10 for Cole Zoig.
It doesn't matter as long as it clips that small line. With these target faces, because they're a bit special, we've made that line thicker, that 10-ring line on both the compound and the recurve, just so we can see from a far distance, 8,000 kilometers, 10,000 kilometers for us, to see if they've clipped that line, and it's much easier to look out on the screen. Fantastic, fantastic start in both these matches from the hotshots. Woolly hats because it's probably not so warm in Minnesota, but fantastic shooting in the range there at Country Archery. But we'll be going over to Real Wild's range for the Linda Ochoa's first shot.
Well, we kept them waiting with some technical issues, so Linda Ochoa-Anderson has just cracked on with end number 2, and she's put that one into the 9 ring by the looks of things. And we go back to Minnesota, where I'm sure, as Chris said, it will be very chilly up there at this time of the year. Well, 2 9s to start the second end. Another low 9. That bottom right target is not looking very good for Linda Ochoa-Anderson, is it? And eking out into the lead again for Cole Zoig.
49 points, plays 45 right now. Linda Ochoa-Anderson trailing by 4 in this second end.
Doesn't matter.
Well, looks like another 9 for Linda Ochoa-Anderson and a second 27 for her. And another opportunity to open the lead here. Well, looks like that's hit the 10. So a 29 for Cole Zoig. And that lead has opened up just a little bit more, Chris. A fascinating performance again from the young team.
Yeah, 5 points after the first 6 hours, halfway into this second match, and already knocked down after the first, which they should be. Let's be honest, experience versus inexperience here. We didn't expect them to hang so much, but they're looking to take a lead already. Just 1 point dropped by Cole Zoig, the team captain of the Hotshots. 3 points in both ends from Linda Ochoa-Anderson. She might as well go for the 12 from this point on and try and make some waves and get back into this one.
Yeah, I think you're right, and this is where that 12 ring does come into play. And shooting first, of course, it comes into play for both teams as well, because the hot shots can elect to follow suit and shoot for the 12 as well.
Again, you know, with this much of a lead, if it carries on and you know, Linda's still got to hit the 12 as well, maybe there's some chance for some target practice in this second end to see how it advances and see how it plays out as we progress through it.
Yeah, well, they're taking some time to clear both ranges here as we look down on the left, and you can see the difference in the quality of the pictures we're getting here from Rio Wild's home range with his super fast broadband. They had no technical issues, and I think we've actually switched over to communications in Minnesota for the hot shots. But it looks like we are already ready to go with end number 3. Into the 10 ring, and we should note that Ochoa-Anderson's third arrow in the second end was marked up to a 10, so that 4-point lead retained. Well, as Chris Swells said coming into this match, these youngsters in the Hot Shots team have nothing to fear and nothing to lose, and they're shooting it just like that. A 10 for the team captain, his first arrow of the third end. Now that one's close, Chris. What would you call that?
Yeah, looking from the bottom, I think that's clipped as well. Linda Ochoa-Anderson shooting much better to get into this third end. I think we'll see her go for the 12 with her third arrow.
Another close one. So 2 10s, and Ochoa-Anderson putting the finger up to indicate she's going for the 12. The first time in this match that either of the athletes have attempted it, and Ochoa-Anderson, well, she's kind of been forced into going for it. Well, dropped low here. I suspect that may be clipping the 6-7 ring. Might well get marked as a 7. And so Cole Zoig has no need to go for the 12. Doesn't need to take the risk. And looks like he goes into the 9 there, so a 29 plays a 27, but the 27 as a result of Linda Ochoa-Anderson going for the 12. If she'd gone for the 10 and hit it, she would have clawed back a point, Chris.
I mean, it's the right thing to do for go for it in this third end. She's already trailing by too many to win the match or even tie the match. She might as well try and claw some back and get some target practice on that little 12. You never know. You know, there might be a mistake made on the other side. You might as well keep things close. Cole Zoig, I'm a little bit surprised he didn't go for that white dot on that last arrow with so big of a lead, but he wants to bring this one home and take an early advantage for the young hotshots from overshooting in Minnesota today.
Yeah, I think they're playing quite a canny tactic. Actually, they're perhaps being tactically astute beyond their years.
They've talked about it, obviously. You know that I know they read the rules. I know they prepared themselves for this. They know what they want to do, and they know how they want to play this. I think the guys over at the Team Eastern Range in Rio's Hall were just kind of relying on the 10 ring. But as we saw in the first match, it's not going to be enough to win this.
No, it's not. 88 plays, 82. It's time for end number 4. Solid start from Achara Anderson. Matched by the Hot Shots captain, Cole Zoig. Well, another dropped point from Achara Anderson. Bit of a snatch there. Now, has that clipped the line, Chris?
That'll be a close one. We'll need a confirmation from our competition control. The scorers down there sending photos to confirm if the arrows have hit or not. As we head back to the range at Rio's house.
Yeah, Achara Anderson, we just came to her a little late here, but I've got to think she's going for the 12. We shall see. No, she went for the 10. She didn't bother with it. I think that's a sort of concession in some respects. 111 she finishes on. So we go back to Minnesota. Cole Zoig, to see this one out, just has to hit the target. Very relaxed, and that's the result. A 29 for Cole Zoig there. On first glance, maybe that will get marked up to a 30. Currently, the official score is 30, but it doesn't make any difference, Chris. It was that pull away in the second, the first end of this match that actually made all the difference here, and just solid shooting from the captain.
Yeah, Cole Zoig, fantastic performance from the first two archers on this hotshot team. Now going to take a 2-1 lead in bonus points at the halfway in this game. Obviously, it's still only the team match that matters, but fantastic performances from both of these young guys, all around the 10 ring. I mean, really, really consistent, and the experienced guys over at Team East are going to have to pull out something more if they want to contend with these young usurpers from the north in their same country.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, confirmation that the bonus point has gone to the Hot Shots. 118 to 111 victory for Cole Zoig over Linda Ochoa Anderson. Looks like the ranges are ready and clear and safe to shoot, although looking down in Minnesota, we're just getting a new target down there, but very shortly it will be time to move on to the third and final individual match. And here is where things stand at this stage. Chris Schaff, well, sneaking a draw against Sawyer Sullivan. Linda Ochoa Anderson, well, she fell by the wayside after just one end in the second match, and lost that one 111 to 118. So points for each team in the first individual single point for the Hot Shots in the second. Let's go to match number 3. There we start at the home of the man shooting right here, Rio Wild for Team Eastern will get the third match underway. So let's start straight into the 10 ring. So we go over to Minnesota, and the first arrow from Briel Ochnic. Oh, shrug of the shoulders there, and that is why. Drop down into the, well, I think that she's actually going to get a 9 for that. It's not all lost. We go back to Rio Wild. Solid start from the experienced man shooting at home. Ever closer, but another 9 for Briel.
Those first 2 arrows low from the young archer. 14 years old. I love that Rio's shooting in front of a whole row of world records up there in the background.
And just going high for his last, but a 29 is not catchable from Briel Ochnic. And she, well, I say it's not catchable. It is now, because she's just raised her hand and she's going for the 12. Now this will give her a massive boost if she can hit it. Oh, she has indeed, and you can hear the reaction in Minnesota. She's stolen the very first end against the much more experienced Rio Wild at 14 years old, did you say, Chris?
I think so. That's phenomenal, isn't it? What a great shot. Went super low with those first 2 arrows, about a centimetre down, 3 centimetres down on the bottom right one, and then a 12 with the top one of Rio smiling as well. Didn't shoot a bad first end as a 29, but the 12 comes into play, and Ochnic takes a 1-point lead after 3. Interesting to see if he's going to respond, go for that little white dot as we advance. But yeah, what a fantastic opening end.
Brilliant. You said at the top that they've got nothing to lose, no fear, just go for it. And having, as you said, as you're alluding to, you shot 2 low arrows to then go, hey, why not just go for the 12 and to nail it. Absolutely perfect. And Rio Wild, I think, is nodding his head there. I think he can hear what we're saying and he agrees. Yeah, why not go for it? And I think you might be right. We might see him going for it. The ranges are clear, ready for end number 2. So Rio Wild ready to get us underway. We'll call that a 10. Well, dropping low again in that first arrow, almost in exactly the same spot as the first arrow in the first end. So she will get a 9. Very, very solid shooting. So good response there from Brill Ochnic. And back to Rio Wild. He's not going to go for the 12. He didn't raise his hand anyway. A little shrug there, a little adjustment from the first end where you see that whole top left of the 10 ring. Now this one bottom right. So Brill Ochnic, hand has gone up again, going for the 12 again. Now just remember, a 29 here is possible without going for the 12. So this is bold. And she's hit it again. Bold and brave. It's Brill Ochnic who's taken the second end here and opened up a lead. Chris, phenomenal in the first. To go for it in the second, when she didn't really need to, that was bold and brave, making a statement.
Absolutely brilliant, isn't it? I mean, what a fantastic cojones for a young lady over in the USA. I mean, real world, 3-time indoor world champion, shooting acceptably, 29-29, and Brill Ochnic's pulling away with 12s in the first 2 ends, and she's got a 3-point lead at the halfway point. She looks a heavy favourite to win this third individual match.
She certainly does. Just like I say, it's the bravery demonstrated in the second end to go for it. She kind of needed to go for it in the first, but didn't need to in the second. Really brave, really bold, making a massive statement in the second end. Range is clear. Is ready for end number 3. So will we see Rio Wild pull out the big guns and go for the 12 in this third end?
Yes.
You can just see the grouping there, the experience of Rio Wild in that bottom left target. Ochnic finding the centre with her first arrow this time. That will give her some confidence. Again, look at the groupings in the bottom 2 targets for Rio Wild when we go back there. So close. Brill Ochnic. Brave and bold throughout. She's gone a little right on this one. So on a 19, Rio Wild sticking to his guns and just going for the regulation 10. Just clipping the line for me, but only just. I think that might need to be measured, but provisionally on a 30. Brill Ochnic, you're going for a 12, aren't you? Of course you are. Just low this time, not far at all, but that will be a 7 at best. And that is where bravery didn't pay off. Waiting for final confirmation of that final arrow. But I believe that will have a big difference in the current standings for this match. She's been brave throughout. I think whatever happens here, it's worth remembering the name Brill Ochnic, but that's the danger of going for the 12, right?
Well, yeah, she had that lead. If she'd gone for the 10, even if she said hit a 9, she still would have had a lead in this match. But she went for the 12. She hit it twice in a row. Why not? Got a 7 though, and that's the risk. It's questionable whether that was the right decision, but I think they've decided to go with a with an aggressive approach in this one, and they'll ride it to the end and see how that goes for them. Let's be honest, even if she loses this one and Rio takes it, she'll have lost it, to be honest, rather than Rio claiming it with the 12 wins, and they'll just be tied when they start the final. So it's just a chance if there's a draw or if the hot shots can take this one on the back of Brielle, then they've just taken advantage. But at the end of the day, they're not going to go into it behind, and they'll still have just as good a chance as any other match to take it all the way.
Yep, absolutely. Well, it has been a turnaround here in the third end. Rio Wild now leads 88-87. We will go to end number 4. So Brielle now trailing will shoot first. And she starts with a 10. Now the way this is playing out, I fancy we are going to see Ochnich going for the 12 in the third, on the third arrow in this end. Solid again from Rio Wild. Well, dropped into the 9 here, so the 12 is almost certainly going to come into play. Back to Rio Wild. And he's shot a 9, so let's see what Brielle Ochnich calls here for her final arrow. Hand goes up. She's going for it. On for a possible 108. If she gets the 12, she's going to force Wild into going for his first 12, I think. And she's hit it. She has hit it. It's a 118 finish for Brielle Ochnich. And at the moment, Rio Wild is on 107. There's the finger raise. He's going for the 12. He needs it to take this third individual of the second semi-final.
Yep.
Oh, that is very close indeed. Have the fat arrows saved the day for Rio Wild, Chris?
I believe they have. It's a little right, but I think it's good enough. I think he's clipped the right edge of that white spot. Brielle Ochnich was a better 12, but with the score standing at what it was, I think Rio's done enough to take this third match, and it all came down to that third end and the 12 that Brielle missed. She shot a 7, and it put her behind. Challenging, thing to question, since she shot 3 out of 4. It's difficult to know what would have happened if ifs and buts, but fantastic performance from both of them. It does mean, though, as long as these scores are confirmed, that Rio will take that bonus point from the third match, and they'll be tied on 2 bonus points apiece after the 3 individuals.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it has been confirmed now as the targets are being cleared as we look on. Brave performance from Brielle Ochnich, but actually one has to doff a cap to Rio Wild. He stuck to his guns, stayed within the normal regulation shooting parameters for archery, but when called upon in the last arrow, went for had to go for the 12 and hit it. So hats off to him. You're talking about winning or losing from the Brielle Ochnich side. I think Rio Wild won that one for Team Eastern and levelled things up going into the team competition. Now, Chris, I know we've had some technical issues, but let's just give it a go. Let's see if we can just talk to the teams to make sure we know what their lineups are for the all-important team final. Perhaps we can start with Team Eastern as they look like they're standing in front of the camera. Hello, Team Eastern. Can you hear us?
Place your shots.
I'm not so sure, but I think these guys know what they're doing. It'll be Team Eastern that start us off first in this team match since they are the highest seeded, and we've got a tied score at 2-2 heading into the team. Team Eastern are looking ready. Looks like Chris Schaff, the captain's going to kick us off on the left side of the screen, and Cole Zoig, the captain for the Hotshots, is going to kick us off on the right side of the screen.
I think you're right. I think they're ready. Let's get on with the team match.
Get ready, Soren.
So Chris Schaff ready to shoot first for Team Eastern in end number 1. Pulling left and into the 9s, and we will alternate between the two teams. As you can see, the teams starting on 2 points each mean that Team Eastern are now on 11. Well, a 10 from the Hotshots. Puts them into the lead. How is Linda Achara Anderson going to start this? Drifting out to the left. So Briel Ochnich taking the second arrow for the Hotshots. Rio Wild finishing things off with a 28, which becomes a 30 with the 2 bonus points. And we return to Sawyer Sullivan in Minnesota. And into the 10 for Sullivan, so a 29. And well, the Hotshots, the young pretenders, have eked out a 1-point lead. There's not a huge amount in this, but 1 point at the start is going to give them a little lift going into the rest of the match.
Yeah, fantastic opening again. No need to go for the 12. Not as aggressive as we saw from Briel Ochnich in that last individual match, but a 1-point advantage starting at 2-2. Both Chris Schaff and Linda Ochoa Anderson went wide to the left. It's a little bit of a different format to usual. Normally they shoot a rhythm of 3 and a rotation of 3 in a team matches on the international circuit. This is still 1-on-1 alternating and one archer at a time, so a little less of a chance to get into a groove. And it will be Team Eastern that start us off again.
They certainly will. Time for end number 2.
Yep.
A 10 for Chris Schaff. Captain's going first in both of these teams, so Cole Zoig here. Also just clipping the line for me, and all square after 1 hour of the second end. That's bang in the centre for Linda Ochoa Anderson. You could hear the support from her teammates there, bolstering her confidence. Briel Ochnich here in Minnesota, shooting for the hot shots and matches Linda Ochoa Anderson, maintaining the 1-point lead for the young team. Rio Wild, no call for the 12 just yet. gone high. Big opportunity now. What are we going to see from Sawyer Sullivan? He's thinking about it, I think. I think he's thinking about the 12. He hasn't called it, though. Nailed it. Right in the middle. A perfect score for the Hot Shots. And they have opened up a 2-point lead after 2 ends. We're halfway through semi-final number 2. This for a place in the final against Arc System. There's no doubt that Sawyer Sullivan had a little think about going for the 12 there at the in the last hour of the second. What's going to happen, do you think?
Well, he made a sensible decision, didn't he? When you've got a 2-point lead or a potential 2-point lead, if you're going for the standard 10, you don't throw that away for a chance at glory this early on in the match. You know, they were aggressive early on, but a sensible approach here. Build a lead and force these their talented opponents to make a mistake. We've seen Rio hit a 12. We've seen Chris Schaff hit a 12. We know they can do it, but it's not an easy thing to do, especially under pressure. So keep it pounding and make them force them into it and force them to make a mistake.
Well, let's go straight to end number 3. Into the 10 ring. So we move back to Minnesota. And Chris, the key thing here is that Team Eastern are either waiting for a mistake from the Hot Shots, so they don't have to go for the 12, but ultimately, if the Hot Shots carry on, well, there is a minor mistake, dropping a single point. But ultimately, Team Eastern will have to be proactive about calling that 12, won't they?
They won't have to be. You know, if the Hot Shots do make a mistake in this end, they might get away with it with this solid approach, especially if Linda Ochoa-Anderson keeps drilling that bottom right spot that she's been assigned by the group.
Yeah, so they've gained 1 point back, Team Eastern. That's a 10 for Brielle Ochnich. She's found her form, 2 10s in a row for her. So we go back to Rio Wild. He just gives us a little casual glance at the camera and then looks back to his team. It's almost like, is he thinking about the 12?
Nice.
He wasn't thinking about it. He's hit the 12, the 10, and a nice call from Chris Schaff there, I believe. So we now go back to Minnesota. Sawyer Sullivan, no call, so going for regulation 10 again. He's hit 2 of them in the match so far. And just gone high and left, and that looks like a 9 to me. So 2 9s and a 10 for the Hot Shots, and 3 10s for Team Eastern. Just like that, Chris, all square. No need to necessarily be proactive for Team Eastern on the call of the 12.
With 39 arrows into this semi-final game now, you know, they're not just short matches that decide things. We're 39 arrows into this game and we're all level with 3 arrows left to shoot. It's been a long time. We've already shot 4, and it's a slow, steady approach from Schaff, from Wild, from Linda Ochoa-Anderson has seen this in there. You know, despite some impressive performances, especially in the early matches from our young Hot Shots in Minnesota. We'll just wait for that range over on the right side to get cleared before we kick off things in our last end. A critical end.
Yeah, critical indeed. All square, as Chris said, 89 points each. It's time for end number 4.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nice.
Schaff calling it before we saw the target. It's a 10, so the pressure is now on. Well, Chris called it a solid approach. Is that what's going to see them through this? It's now a single point lead for Team Eastern. Well, another one in the nines, and look at that, 2-point deficit. Rio Wild not calling for the 12. It knows that hitting the 10 means the Hotshots will need a 12 to draw level. Now, is that enough, Chris? Has that clipped the 10 or not?
I think that's too low. I think that's going to be called a 9 for 118 total as we cut over to the other range of the Hotshots.
They still need the 12. 10 is not enough for them. 117 will still see them lose by a point. So you've got to think they're going to go for it here. The hand goes up. The maths has been done. The Hotshots are going for the 12. This is it. Oh, it's just too low. It must be less than a centimetre away from the 12 ring. They had to go for it. They did go for it, but they didn't hit it. And the solid approach from Team Eastern has seen them win the second semi-final. 118 points to what I think is going to be measured as 114. Brave from the young team, but you called it a solid approach, and it worked from Team Eastern.
Yeah, not back and forth, not with 12s and 7s all spraying in. A couple of 12s early on, and Linda Ochoa Anderson missed one. But at the end of the day, they shot their game. They shot the 10 ring that they all know how to do so well. And it paid off in the end. Although, you know, coming down to it, that last arrow, there was a chance to send it to a shoot-off or send it, you know, send them to their death, so to speak, depending on whether that arrow, the top arrow of that top face on the left target that you can see there is marked up to a 10. We're not quite sure. Oh, it was. So it would have been sent to a shoot-off if they hit that 12. But it was a fantastic performance, a brave performance from our young hotshot shooting in Minnesota. But it's the guys at Real Wild's house that will go through. Can we speak to the guys over at Real Wild's house? Can you hear us, Team Eastern?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Guys, fantastic performance. You didn't go for too many 12s in this one. Can you tell us a little bit about your game plan there?
Go ahead. Yeah, we figured stay close to now. Shooting 12, sacrificing, missing more than what we gained. That's how we figured we'd stay in the hunt with them.
Do you think it's going to be enough for the final against the French team we saw in the earlier round, shooting 12s every single end almost? Well,
we've done this a few times, so it's kind of like our thoughts were that we just stay solid. And, you know, I mean, that 12 ring can lead to some open doors as much as it can mean to closed doors. So it just kind of is, do you really want to flirt with it or not? That was kind of our thinking.
Oh, fantastic. You guys can get ready for your final. We're going to delay it a little bit as well, by half an hour, so we've got time just to reset everything. But congratulations. Hotshots, how was it for you? Did you enjoy yourselves?
Yeah, it was very fun. Yeah. Very difficult shooting against one of the best archers in the world.
Good experience.
Super good experience.
And you came close to taking it, but not quite enough with that last arrow.
Yeah, it was close.
Well, congratulations as well. Hope to see you again in the future. Well, great game, both of you.
Yeah, brilliant stuff there from the Hotshots, and of course we'll see Team Eastern in the final against the French team Arc System a little bit later on. Chris, look, first off, that young American team, we're definitely going to see more of them in the future.
Yeah, I mean, great shooting from such a young group of people. Obviously, Cole and Sawyer have experience on the international stage. with the cadet team, but Brielle Oshis, her first performance in front of cameras, even if they are their own mobile phones, still being streamed around the world. So yeah, great. Can't wait to see what they do in the future. But in the imminent future, I can't wait to see what Team Eastern do against the team Arc System team from France in just under an hour.
Yeah, brilliant lineup for our finals, as Chris said. Arc System up against Team Eastern, and contrasting tactics on the 12 ring, sure to be part of that final. It's coming up at 7:30 p.m. Central European time, as Chris said. That's about 45 minutes from now. Thanks for joining us for the semi-finals. Do come back in 45 minutes when it will be finals time.